What's going on, everybody? What's going on, folks? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the D-constructingTopics podcast. Oh, we got a little go one. Yeah, the little spooky, little kind of horror music in the background. That means that we have a mind-boggling episode of the D-constructingTopics podcast. Ooh, oh, we making it happen. We making it happen for sure. And if you're listening to this episode, you know what? Always hit the like, comment, share. But you know what's going to be cool about this episode? While you're listening to this, listen to this episode with other people because it's going to be a conversation starter for sure. And once again, welcome to the legendary. My name is David, your legendary host of this, the hottest legendary podcast that's out there. You know what? Sometimes you just need to unplug, unwind, whatever it is, and just listen to this podcast and listen to me. As you're listening to me, you're going to be like, wow, this dude is cool. But we making it happen. And we have a good topic today as we have the Mandela Effect for some people or for many people who have not heard what is the Mandela Effect. If you're new to this concept or whatever it is, once again, sit down and this episode, don't tell you I warn you. It's going to be some spoilers as well. Don't tell you that I warn you. That it's going to be mind-boggling. Woo! Let's make it happen. And yes, the Mandela Effect. What is the Mandela? Yeah, I mean, it's that question. What is the Mandela Effect? And it's named after Nelson Mandela, which was a president at one point in South Africa a long time ago. A lot of people know who he is. He is taught in school, hero, whatever it is. Nelson Mandela was incarcerated for many years. And for some reason in South Africa, people, and I believe globally, because he is a global icon in a sense, and rightfully so, for some reason people remember Nelson Mandela passing away somewhere in the early 80s. And the truth is that it's not. So basically, the Mandela Effect is something where we think that we could have sworn, and this happened. And this is also called selective memory. Ooh, yeah, it's one of those things that before I make this episode, I reach out to my brothers in arms, my sisters in arms. We were having a conversation. Hey, you remember this? Have you not? That has not happened to you? Where you feel like, why do I remember that person walking with a limp, but they never did? Why I thought they were missing a leg or something to that effect. So basically, with the Mandela Effect, it's that thing where people remembered that Nelson Mandela passed away in the 80s. Once again, he never did. And another one, interesting one. For those people who watch Star Wars, who have watched Star Wars, no spoilers if you never did, or if you intend to watch Star Wars. In one of the Star Wars movies, I believe it was episode 5. Two of the main, stars or the main characters there, Darth Vader. You know that dude. He's fighting against Luke, and, the story is that Darth Vader, it's Luke's father, but Luke doesn't know. So, and there's a part in the scene where Darth Vader goes and says, "No, I'm your father." And for some reason, a lot of people thought that the person, and voiced by the legendary James Earl Jones, Luke, wait a minute, Luke. I can't even do the voice. He's legendary. Maybe I could do it. Who knows? Another topic, different episode. But some people remembers that he said, "Luke, I'm your father," but the answer is no. He said, "No, I am your father." And it's interesting that excuse me, I reached out to a couple of my brothers in arms, and they both had different views or memory of the scene. And that's crazy. Now, we don't, the backstory is different, but hey, it's one of those things. Once again, the Mandela Effect in the house where we remember something and it's not. Another one is Jiffy. Or Jif, the peanut butter. You know what I mean? For some reason, people do remember Jif, the peanut butter, for those who like those peanut butter, the J-I-F. But it's actually, yes, J-I-F. But for some reason, people remember Jiffy. Now, I think that Jiffy, for some reason, people do, there is a couple of things where people might say, oh, it's Skippy, Jiffy, but it's two different companies. And I think there was a popcorn called Jiffy. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, for some reason, I always remember Jif as in Jif. You know what I mean? There was a difference between that and Skippy. So, for whoever does remember Jiffy, hey, by all means, hey, you know, once again, the Mandela Effect in the house. Looney Tunes. Once again, people, for some reason, remember Looney Tunes as LooneyToons. In reality, it's Tunes. I always remember as Tunes, but for some reason, think about this. So tunes is what? Cartoons. Tunes as in, tunes with the O's, and then tunes, Tunes, as a tune. Now keep in mind, these cartoons with Bugs Bunny, yeah, what's up, Doc? In a sense, there was a lot of music to it because, we're talking about these cartoons. Animated cartoons was a long time ago. You know what I mean? So you add a little bit more music to it. So you would think, okay, it's a cartoon, but I think that a lot of times, people forget it's actually Tunes, as in tunes. Like I'm, tuning on the tune, you know what I mean? But yes, I do remember it as in tunes, Tunes, and not Toons. So that's interesting. There's one with the Berenstain Bears, the spelling of the Berenstain Bears or Berenstain Bears or something like that. People do remember I said Berenstain Bears, if I'm not mistaken, Berenstein. But for some reason, that's incorrect. That's not the correct spelling. It's Berenstein, whatever the case might be. Now, what's interesting is this, is that, and I, do my research because ever since I heard about the Mandela Effect a long time ago, because I am one of those with those selective memories. Hey, I remember this. For some reason, there's a lot of YouTubers out there, content creator. And there was one individual who, for some reason, he remembers that he rented, back then, the VHS, they went to a Blockbuster. For those kids out there that don't know what is a Blockbuster and a VHS and a VCR, well, now you know. It's something where we put this thing, the VHS tape, and we watch, tapes. Things were not like video on demand like now, different story. But for some reason, this individual do remember, and he does have a copy of this cartoon, and it was mislabeled. So it could be one of those things where they could have been something where they mislabeled it. They didn't, the Blockbuster didn't want to send it back to the distributor, whatever it is, the company, the studio that makes the cartoon. So they basically said, okay, we'll leave it at that. You know what I mean? Curious George. Ooh, okay. So Curious George, again, take me memories. For some reason, some people remember him with a tail. Well, guess what? There was none. Unbelievable. I'm like, wow, wait, well, why? Again, it's selective memory. I just can't remember whether he had a tail. Now, I don't know. I remember the story and the dude with the yellow, his trainer father. I don't know. But I'm trying to think now. Maybe I thought he had a tail because, he's a monkey. That's just me. Monopoly Man, let's go. This one is interesting because people remember Mr. Monopoly having a monocle, that little glasses, that little one-eye glass, whatever it is. And I'm in between. I'm in between. I spoke to my brothers in arms out there, and they remember it. Monocle. There's some people that do remember, but the company that makes the game, the board game, whatever the case might be, Milton Bradley, I don't know, Hasbro, they claim that he never had a monocle, that little glass. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Now, supposedly he might have come out again, and this is not debunking that. My understanding that he might have, and again, we're talking about way after the 80s. Because remember, Monopoly's an old game. And I remember playing Monopoly since Monopolio in Spanish, and you know what I mean? It's playing that in Puerto Rico, Monopoly. So I don't remember. Some people might mistake him with the peanut guy that might have Panaco, peanuts. That company, you know what I mean? So that's one of those things where it's like, hey, Febreze, once again, the spray that spray's a killer. That's all I can say. But, it's one of those things that people thought it was Febreze with like 2 E's, I believe. But it's actually one. You'd be like, what? Am I looking? Yeah, I think I got a bottle of Febreze somewhere. And I'm like, wow, I thought it was 2 E's. I just, I thought it was too easy. I don't know. Whatever. Oscar Mayer, another, the company that makes that company. I mean, yeah, they make a lot of how can I say, processed food, hot dogs, ham, so-called ham. I don't know what the hell they sell. They sell a lot of, you go to the deli, you go out there. You know what? When you go to the supermarket and you want to get some ham or anything like that, go to the deli. I know I get it. Sometimes, I get it. But Oscar Mayer is one of those things that, people thought that, hey, it's I believe it's an A in Oscar Mayer. Or no, there's a A, but people are mayor. So something to that effect. But look at it, the A or the E or whatever, it's whatever it is now. I'm over here like, okay, I'm trying to remember here because I'm trying to do my best to kind of, how can I say it to you? As I'm doing this episode, I'm also looking at some of the examples here of the Mandela Effect, but I'm also trying to like visualize going to these supermarkets or whatever it is, trying to visualize if I'm one to say, I remember this, but why? You know what I mean? And Oscar Mayer would be one of those interesting things. The Froot Loops, for some reason. Wow, Froot Loops. So for some reason, people... Yeah, Froot Loops is interesting because for some reason we think Froot Loops and we think like fruit, like Fruit, and then, that was ingrained. But in reality, Froot Loops, it's actually Froot. And then my understanding is that there was some type of battle or whatever it is, legal battle, something to that effect, where you kind of like told Kellogg's, hey, listen, you guys don't actually have fruits in that Froot Loop. So, you might want to like kind of change the name or the spelling. And lo and behold, the people in Kellogg's, hey, okay, we could still spell fruit, but in another sense. So Froot Loops, for some reasons, a lot of people always think that it's fruit. It's an Fruit loops. But it's not. It's Froot. Oh, my goodness. I'm telling you. We're going crazy like, well, Pikachu's tail. What? The hyphen in Kit Kat. You know what I mean? I personally thought that there was a hyphen in Kit Kat, but there was not. Look, I'm going to say this because I was usually listening to me like, what? Sometimes, I kid you not, and keep in mind, these are conglomerate, for the most part, these products, big corporations, the media. Sometimes they playing without emotions, you know what I mean? They playing with our memories. And I'm like, what? Kit Kat never had a hyphen? Fruit of the Loom, that's another interesting one. Fruit of the Loom, for those people out there, especially getting them undies, you know what I mean? They thought that there was a cornucopia. Now, Fruit of the Looms, it was like a basket with a cornucopia. What they said, a cornucopia, which is, looks like a little basket, type of deal. And for some reason, people remember that. But in reality, there was none whatsoever. It were just fruits. Now, I think, in my opinion, in my personal thing, I'm from the hood, you know what I mean? I used to be. Well, I take it back. Growing up in the Bronx in the hood, it's one of those things where I think that if you have gone to, Alexander's, Conway's, one of these or another of these kind of mom and pop discount stores in the hood to save a couple of dollars, you might have encountered somewhat of a counterfeit. You know what I mean? Fruit of the Loom. Where the cornucopia could be. I'm just saying. Now, if a lot of people remember, okay, not everybody's from the Bronx. Maybe there's different parts. But I'm just thinking here. That's just my thing. Cheese it. That's another thing. Going back to Star Wars, the famous character, 3CPO, the robot. And you can, well, not the little R2D2, CPO. 3CPO, whatever the case might be. For some reason, and I do remember this, for some reason, I thought that he was all gold. But in reality, he's not. He has a silver leg, and I think in one of the movies they kind of explain why he got that silver leg on his right foot. For some reason, what happened is that, when you want to dress up as this individual, not to make it, make it to the eyes like, okay, that's 3CPO and not a counterfeit. They made it all gold. But in the movie, my understanding is that his right foot is silver. I'm like, what? Again, they playing with me, The Flintstones is interesting because, some people, for some reason, the Flintstone for that, cartoon, people don't recall having it two T's, but it actually has two T's. Don't remember. It's just the way that one kind of pronounce it as the Flintstones, like Flint, but it's actually Flintstones. So it's Flintstones. People forget about that first T, the Flintstones, but it's actually the Flintstones. Something to that effect. Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm telling you, you're probably going to sit down. If you're having a beer, if you're having adult juice, or if you're having whatever it is that you're having, if you're smoking or you're doing something wild, you're probably sitting down, you'll be like, what is going on? Another one in the movie, another famous Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolate. People always remember it. I always remember that. Life is like a box of chocolate. The reality, hate to burst a bubble. Life was like a box of chocolate. Life was like a box of chocolates. Life was like a box of chocolate. Not life is like a box of chocolate. So, another one. I'm sorry. I apologize if I, kind of whatever. Oh, this one is cool. So, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Oh, movie. And even to this day, people thought that mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the wicked, whatever it is. It's actually magic mirror on the wall. Magic mirror on the wall. Again, mirror, mirror on the wall is something that might have either commercial or, it's one of those things that you'd be like, what? I thought it was mirror, mirror on the wall. No, it's actually magic mirror on the wall. And one of my favorite songs that if you tune in and Queen and Freddie Mercury and the band called Queen. We are the champions, my friend. And then at the end, people think we are the champions. And then for some reason, people remember of the word. So that word never existed. The word we are the champion of the word never existed. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's crazy. That's some of those, you know what? That's some of the examples of the Mandela Effect. I'm probably thinking about one, two, whatever, but what? We could go on and on and on and on. But again, these are the things in the Mandela Effect where we remember something, but in reality, it's not. So it's mind-boggling for those out there that do remember something as a child, whatever it is, and you adamant to think that that's what they said or that's what it appeared, or whatever the case might be. If you're adamant to think that, yes, it was like this, but then to find out as you're growing up that it never was, feel free to, reach out to your boy, Deconstructing Topic, and make that comment. Oh, there's so much examples, like, whew, we could go on and on and on and on forever. But again, it's selective memory. And there are times that for some reason there's something that gets stuck with us. And then it becomes like an echo chamber where everybody's repeating it, or vice versa, where someone starts something and you become the echo chamber. So, yeah, that's about that. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. It's a good one. The Mandela Effect in full effect in this episode, because you already know, Deconstructing Topic Podcast. Ooh, we the hottest podcast going on. And we are taking over the world for life. Let's make it happen. I'm out of here. Much love. I'm out of here. Peace.